Hey fellas. So I went over to Pensacola twice this weekend. Saturday night, Alice and Brandon schemed to have dinner, so I went and picked up the tubular core support for the trooper car here. I got that mocked in. I'm gonna tell kind of a neat little story about that. The second one was I was at the track yesterday and you watched the cars go, and it seems like there's two schools of thought to for building a race car, a car that you race at the track kind of regular. Some guys have this. Their method is to have throw a lot of money at it, make a lot of power, and go fast, which is it works. That's one way to do it. And then there's other guys like our crew is to have a light car, a lot of gear. You ain't got to necessarily make a lot of power, but you can make sufficient power to go fast. Now I lean towards the latter one because a lighter car is going to be easier on the parts. On a drivetrain, you're not going to be breaking stuff. Probably a little easier to drive. So I know people don't like to see cutting up a Mustang. Well, a lot of times the cars are already rusted really bad. So especially like the Baby Pro stock, there's no salvage in it. So it's just being used what little lifespan's left in the body for racing. So and the basic premise of drag racing is acceleration, in an amount of time. And if you don't have a lot of power, then it's better to have less weight to accelerate. So the less weight you got to accelerate, the faster you can go. And then even then, if you're making a lot of power, you can still take more weight out of the car to go even faster. So however somebody wants to do it, I think the main thing is that they're involved in it and that they're advocating for the sport. They're showing kids how to do it. The kids come around looking at the cars, they're talking to them about it. And even some like at Holt, you could give people rides. You had to keep it under, or over, I should say. I think you couldn't go faster than like 80 at 90, something like that. So if you start out, then go halfway or better, then get on the brakes hard. Kids got a kick out of it. But because we do need to grow the sport, I notice too when I go to the track, it's mostly old guys like me or even sometimes older. So it helps to grow the sport, and however you want to do it, it's your car, your property, whatever, do it how you want to. I think the main thing is to be out there supporting the track so that they can keep the gates open, because in this climate going on now, with a lot of tracks are closing just because people, for whatever reason, they buy property, buy a track, buy a house, buy a track, and then they complain about the noise. Just like they do here at Eglin Air Force Base, which is like 3 miles from my house, the front gate there. People can fuss about the noise all the time. This airport and air base has been here since the 20s, and people still fuss about it. So that was all. Just something I want to talk about, just to see what you guys think. Maybe you might have opinion about that too. But again, everybody's got their own way of doing stuff. Just because somebody else does something, if it works, it ain't stupid if it works, is what I always say. So however they want to do it, as long as they're out there supporting the track or out there having fun, let them do their thing. Just because they ain't doing it the way you would doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just they're out there having fun and they're helping keep the gates open at the track. The other thing was, like I said, I went and got that lower core support for the Mustang, and when I met the guy, I paid him online first, and I met him, and he handed it to me, and it was kind of like a teal green. I said, that looks familiar. He says, yeah, I got it from a buddy of mine. He's got a lot of Mustangs. And I said, oh, really? I said, Amir? And he says, yeah. I said, yeah. He said, yeah, this was on that 93 fake Cobra. And I said, yeah, I sold him that car before he turned it into a Cobra. It belonged to a buddy of mine, Eric. And, we just got to talking. That was kind of neat, I thought. But anyway, so now I got the thing mocked up. It's just sitting in there. I haven't cut the old one off yet. I just wanted to make sure it was the same height. and it is a little higher. You can see that it's in there straight, really shows how bent up the other one is. So I'm going to cut this off. That was what I was kind of led to the blabbering before this was the I'm gonna break out the sawzall and cut that thing off. And I know some people are like, "Oh my God, you're cutting up a Mustang." Yeah, kind of, but I'm just cutting one thing off and putting something else back on. And even if I wanted to keep it pristine, I'd still have to cut that off to replace it. So that's how it is. So anyway, I'm gonna get to cutting, and I got a couple of videos I took at the track yesterday. I'll throw them up here too, and when I put this all together. All right, appreciate y'all. Later on. All right, fellas. So I got this cut off the trooper car. That's the core support, the high mileage, mildly mangled core support. It weighs 7 pounds. This is a second-hand Team Z core support. It weighs 4 pounds. So I saved 3 pounds for $60. Wasn't too worried about the weight portion. I was more concerned about the cosmetics, just because that thing is pretty ugly. So $60, 3 pounds. I'll probably have to move these anyway, because I got to scooch the radiator over a little bit to the passenger side, so the 4-inch pipe for the inlet tubes will clear the radiator. The other thing I'd looked at doing was heating up the radiator with a heat gun, the plastic tank, and making a little indentation, but I'd rather not do that. So I got back from Harbor Freight a few minutes ago. I got a 4-inch handy dandy hole cutter, so I can cut the inlets, the holes on the air cleaner housing. And then they had these on clearance for like $2, I think. These were good for the chambers and the cylinder heads, smoothing them out, you know, making those nice and shiny and smooth. Guess that's about it. Got the toolbox out. Going to go over to JY in Pensacola tomorrow. Wait, let me flip this around. Work. Yeah, that works. So, last Sunday I went to the track. There's some footage I'll put at the end of all this other garbage from the track. I got to meet Chris from Tampa. He's got a really nice LX coupe with a 306 and a turbo, an AOD, and 327 gears. Real clean car, really nice guy. It's good to meet him finally. Sadly, he had planned to come up for the dyno day, and that didn't work out, so we had to cancel and moved it to February 18th. And I don't know if he'll come back up for that or not, but you know, I guess he could try. Anybody else down in the southeast in that time frame, you're welcome to come out to Johnny's for that. Eric always brings donuts, which makes it a real nice event, and some of the guys will bet like $1 on the numbers that the cars make, and that's pretty fun for them. And then we go to Whataburger afterwards, so it's like an all-day thing. No word on Holt yet. Still nothing. They got that thing locked down. It's I guess the owner was selling it to a guy and had a couple of hiccups along the way, and then finally when it came time, it didn't go through. So now they're gonna try to get somebody to lease it. So we'll see how it goes. In the meantime, I guess I'll just have to go to Atmo whenever I can. I think they're going up Sunday, but I'm not able to this Sunday. So maybe next Sunday I can bring the red car up. So I guess that's about it. I'll wrap this up. This is kind of awkward holding this thing out here like this, so I'm not used to doing that. But that's all. Like I said, I got a few clips, short clips from the track last weekend, and I'll put it at the very end. All right, appreciate y'all. Later. Rodney and Chris gonna go. Chris drove all the way up here from Tampa to come up here with us. Knuckleheads drove up there yesterday. clean car. I like it. And in the other lane, not so clean. McNuggles with a failing power lock or traction lock. Good over here by Chris. Something went on. No time, of course. Pirate gets to get some. So 50 degrees in South Alabama is. Wind's coming out of the north, so it's pretty cool. Feels cool to us. Nope. Traction lock done gave up, so it'll be time for the spool on that thing before too long. I think he said he was running Kevin's old slick, so maybe that's not helping that they've been sitting for a while. Kevin said this car's really fast. Hopefully it ain't a 20-minute staging production. Well, so much for that. Like to let him come back.